You know what, Sam?
What?
That was a perfect homestand.
Yes, it was. All right, we're back with another episode of the Caniac Report. And Sam, like what you said in your one-liner, Hurricanes have the, the homestand. They swept it. Great, 4 games on this homestand, 4 wins. Very, very happy. And we'll get to those games. But first, as normal, if you haven't listened to us before, we usually like to go through some podcast stuff first and then NHL news, Hurricanes news, and then we will recap the 2 games as the last half of the episode. So, first things first, we have a link for donations. And if you want to feel like you want to donate, well, if you want to know where to find it and you want to donate, it is in both the descriptions on YouTube and on our traditional podcasts like Apple and Spotify. Another thing, too, is we recently had a ticket giveaway, and we like to congratulate the winner in Brian Hauser, I believe. And we like to congratulate him. Isn't that correct, Sam?
Yes, it's always fun to see the giveaways become a successful thing.
Yes. And thank you for actually retweeting us. We really appreciate that. And we hope you had a fun game on election night. It was some game, 6-4 win, so tons of goals that game. But that's pretty much it for podcast stuff, Sam. A couple of NHL news I do want to get to. One, Sam, Boston, they are not doing good right now, and they kind of, I thought, a little bit showed it when they bench probably their best player in David Pastrnak against Seattle this week in the third period after he had a bad turnover in the second. Sam, I feel like this is kind of part of a trend that Boston's not doing good. Now, us Games fans, we're happy Boston's not doing good,
Yeah, it's always
but
fun to see Boston fail.
yes, it is. But I mean, it makes sense too, just because Lindholm hasn't really worked out at center, and you haven't really had that replacement of Bergeron since he retired. So I think Boston soon, I think, has to probably go into somewhat of a retool. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they're probably moving in that direction. We'll see what happens with them, though. Their fans won't tolerate a long rebuild, so it's going to have to be a retool for them.
Yeah, it definitely has. And they still, I mean, obviously, they still have David Pastrnak. Now, he's
Yep.
not doing good right now. He only has,
Nope.
I believe, 1 goal. They have Charlie McAvoy. I do not like McAvoy, but he's still a good defenseman. And they have Brad Marchand for the time being. The reason why I say time being is that he is in his mid 30s right now. So you never know when age is going to catch on to a player. So that's the big thing for Boston. Another thing too, Sam, I thought this was really interesting is Nikolai Ehlers. He is playing on a dynamic team right now with Winnipeg, and apparently he made history against Tampa this past week by now being number 1 in terms of scoring as a Denmark-born NHLer. Guess who he just passed, Sam?
Who?
Franz Nielsen, if you remember
Okay.
him.
Detroit. Yep.
Yep. So Ehlers is now considered the best Denmark-born NHLer in terms of points. So good for him. He's a very good player, Sam.
Hmm. I agree.
And, yeah, and
That's why we
Winnipeg,
wanted
they're
him.
doing good. Yeah,
That's why we wanted him in the off season. So
yeah. What do you think of Winnipeg, man? They're on fire.
well, there's only one team above us in the standings, and it's them. So um, they're having a great year. We'll see if it continues. I mean, just like if we'll see what happens with Carolina. Do we continue or do we falter? Do they continue or do they falter? You know, you figure New York's at some point going to figure it out. Uh, the Islanders, Washington, they started off on a heater. Are they going to cool down? So you have a lot of teams that are hot to start the year. We'll just see what happens. It's only the first, what, 12 games of the 16, something like that. We've only played so many games. It's just a matter of we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, we played a dozen games, and most teams are around that point, anyways. But
Yeah,
I can tell you one team that did start it hot that is kind of going back down to earth is Calgary.
which is was expected. They're not that good of a team, but some teams start out hot. Like last year, I think it was Anaheim that had a heck of a start out the gate, and boy did they crash. So teams will revert back to their expectations.
Yes, definitely. Another team too, Sam, that we're kind of still waiting on. They're last in the Central, and that's Nashville right now. They're 4-9-1.
They'll
So
figure.
we're still waiting.
I still think Nashville will figure it out. And if not, they have a lot of assets that they can move for a lot of um, young prospects and draft picks. So Nashville's not in a bad situation, regardless of the standings.
Yeah, they're not. It just depends how they go. It's just some of those contracts that they signed at the free agency, Sam. I mean, I'm not saying like Brady Shea's a bad player or anything, but that's a big contract that you're
Sure,
giving him. And I think usually when it comes to trying to trade players, the players with the very long term contracts are very hard to move.
sure. I don't think Shea's the guy that they would move though. One rough year
Stamkos,
does
maybe.
Stamkos is shorter term, but I think he stays. Again, we'll just see. I don't think they're in a bad position. I think they'll make it. I think they'll figure it out just like Edmonton did last year.
Yeah, they could. It's just we'll wait and see with Nashville. The reason why I kind of never count out Edmonton is just because they have arguably the best player in the league.
Yeah,
So, and Nashville doesn't really have that. They just has have to me they have one star player in Philip Forsberg.
they do, but I don't discount Stamkos.
No, I don't either. Stamkos is still a good center. Tampa's doing pretty good though. I mean, without Stamkos.
Yeah, I still think that team will falter eventually, but they do have Vasilevsky, so we'll see.
Yes, we will see. Well, that's pretty much it for NHL stuff, Sam. Let's go to one of our sponsors, and then we'll get to some Hurricanes news. I know one of the most exciting things about Black Friday is a laptop that I can get $250 off. That's something I don't normally get. Except with Raycon, because with Raycon you get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year, but that doesn't mean they're not having any sales for Black Friday. Far from it. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering my viewers up to 30% site wide. For example, they now feature a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with two devices at once, especially if you haven't checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover. It's time to save big for Black Friday. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site wide. That's right, you'll get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. Okay, Sam, let's get to some hurricane stuff here. And one thing that I needed to say is um well deserved. Her NHL named their 3 stars of the week this past week. It ended on November 3rd.
Hmm.
And guess what? Martin Necas is the second star.
Yep.
Crosby was number 3, Ovechkin at number 1. Very interesting considering, even though those are still very good players, you would think other players would probably fill that spot just the way this league is constructed with the McKinnons, the
Yeah.
McDavis, the Dreisaitls. But congrats to Martin Necas, man. He has just been on a tear.
Yeah. Continued tonight too.
Yes, I was wondering if he wasn't going to get a point or not against Pittsburgh, but he did,
Yep.
and we'll talk about that Pittsburgh game. But congrats to Martin Necas on getting that second star. Um, I mean, is there anything else you want to say about that?
No, I mean he deserves it. He's been unbelievable. I mean, what's he on pace for like 150 points, something like that? Some ridiculous
Yeah,
number like
something like
that.
that. Yeah.
Good for him. He deserves that recognition, and I hope he keeps playing like that. And if he does, as soon as the season ends, sign him because he's earned an extension in my mind.
Yes, he definitely has. He has 21 points, I believe, in 12 games. So that is just amazing for Netchus. And it really, I mean, just think, Sam. I mean, I already told you this earlier today, but just think we're about to trade the guy at the
Yeah,
draft.
no, yeah, we were. We were about to move him, and unfortunately for us,
The
it
Gensel
didn't happen.
thing, yeah, it didn't happen because the Gensel thing fell through. And now remains on this team. And I'm wearing his jersey for
Yeah,
this episode.
well,
So I've been wearing this jersey for the past like 8 games, I
I
believe.
know it's been good luck. He's been great. We'll see if it continues when they go out west. So that's what's going to be exciting. Starting a game out in Colorado, that's always a tough environment. You mentioned earlier they're not doing well at home, but you got to think eventually they'll figure it out. But they're beat up. Does Kale McCarr play Saturday night? He might not have played tonight. I'm not sure. I haven't checked, but it's not a Colorado's not an easy team, and we can't go in there, expecting a win just because they haven't played well at home.
Yeah, they're still a very good team. And their team facing with a lot of injuries right now. I believe
Yeah,
Nikishkin is one of those players that is injured. Ross Colton, another player that they have that's injured. So experiencing a few injuries. And Sam, let's look at this upcoming road trip. Now that we're on Hurricanes news, so you have Colorado on this road trip. You have Vegas. Vegas might be the I think the toughest one of the
hmm
three because they have won all 8 of their home games that they played so far. It's going to be
Wow,
tough.
yeah, it won't be easy. Again, for me, I view this road trip as if you can get points and if you can get 4 out of 6.
I say 3, just because the way
Mm,
they've been going. I think they can afford 3 points.
yeah, I mean, if to continue your tear and hold your spot in the standings, you want 4 out of 6, but 3 out of 6 is acceptable when you've played as well as you have. Come back home and
Yeah.
keep playing well at home.
Exactly. And then we end the trip, Sam, on Wednesday, our first game against the new team in
Yep,
Utah Hockey Club. That's going to
yep.
be a fun game, Sam.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting to see what happens. So I'm looking forward to that one. Solid team they've got building up there in Utah. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun, exciting game for the first trip to Utah.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun. I mean, all these 3 games though, they're late games.
Yeah,
Uh, so that's the only thing. But you know what? Since they're playing their first game against Utah in the history of the franchise, I might be able to stay. I might just stay up just for that.
yeah, that'll be good. And then at least one of the games is on Saturday, and it's a
Yeah,
long weekend. So
yeah.
for some,
But
it's a
the
long weekend.
yeah, yeah, for me, yeah, I realize that.
Do you have
Um,
off?
what?
You don't have off on Monday, do you, for Veterans Day?
No, no, I do not.
Oh, poor Sam.
But um, Vegas on Monday night. That's at 10 p.m. So might only be able to watch the first period for
Yeah,
probably both of us.
yeah,
So if we recap that game and it's short, that's the reason why.
yeah.
So, but I would say that's pretty much it for Hurricanes news. We'll see what they do on the road. But now we're going to recap the 2 great wins, Sam, that the Hurricanes have had to sweep the homestand. But before we do, let's get to 2 more of our sponsors. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
What gets me excited about watching hockey is the fast-paced nature of the sport. Woo! Yes, that was Sam Driscoll, our other co-host that you heard. In fact, that is what got me sold when one of the first batch of games I watched was Game 7 between the Hurricanes and the Oilers back in 2006. Now, when it comes to going to Hurricane games, I am able to see quite a few great deals I'd like to go to in the future using the Game Time app. One of its features that I like to use are the seat views because it helps me visualize what I will be seeing when I'm sitting in that particular seat. Another key feature I like is the all-in pricing that shows your total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. It is game time, Sam, because we're going to be recapping not one, but two. Now, I understand you did not watch the Philadelphia game, so I'll probably
I listened to Adam Gold.
You did?
I did. I listened to his recap, so I have an idea of what happened.
Okay. Did you watch any of the highlights or anything? Or
I did not.
Okay. All right. So.
Oh no, I saw Jack Drury's pass.
Okay, Jack Drury's pass to Blake. Okay.
Yep.
Well, you know what? That's in the first period, and we will start there. So, first period, Sam. Honestly, I thought this was Philadelphia's best period because Philadelphia was really, honestly, I would say outworking the Canes, but because the Canes are so good, they were kind of able to still be competitive. And Philadelphia, they have a player that is a king killer, Sam, and that is Travis Konechny. His name's going to be brought up quite a bit in this game. And he scored the first goal for Philly. I do want to be sure of that. I do think he does score. Could be wrong. Yeah, it is Konechny on the power play. And obviously, Kochetkov started this game because you have Anderson still hurt.
Yep.
This was not Kochetkov's best game.
Yep.
It just was not. So it's 1-0 Philadelphia, but then you have Jackson Blake scoring from Jack Drury and Dmitry Orlov. And Orlov, he kind of shoots the puck behind the net. Jackson Blake gets to it. And Philadelphia has not one but two defensemen down below the goal. And Drury is able to make a very smart pass to Jackson Blake, who's all alone in front of their goalie. And he scores. Sam, that is a great pass, great play.
I saw the pass. I thought that was excellent. Highlight reel pass. You're not going to see much better than that. And the Jackson Blake's just been so good for us. I thought he was good tonight, too.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know how he's doing compared to other rookies in the NHL, he is tied for 5th, I believe, last time I checked, in terms of points. He has 6 or 7 points right now. So good for Jackson Blake. There's really no expectation because he's a rookie, but he is exceeding expectations.
Yeah, completely agree. He's been very good, very impressive. It's what you want from a rookie, right? You're getting more than what you would ask for. From him.
He has the hard. What I like about Blake is I think he has the hardworking nature. He's of well, you know, I would say he's kind of a bigger Seth Jarvis, but not as talented. as
Yeah,
Seth
I
Jarvis.
think that can be fair. He's a hardworking guy, grinder. His probably high end is maybe a six, like a second round. Set high end is probably a second line player. Low end third. I think right now he's just still developing, so he's playing on that fourth line, but it's a third scoring line. But I wouldn't shock me if eventually Blake plays on that second and third line on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. But
Like I
again, you
wouldn't, for
win.
example, I wouldn't mind seeing Jackson Blake replace Jarvis on the stall line just because I think Jarvis I feel like he's starting to cool off. I would like to see him score more because that's why you're paying him. And I think as long as he's on that stall line, it's just not going to happen.
Well, he did score, and it seems like that Stall line is starting to score, but it's mainly Stall and Martnook. Jarvis scored on an empty net, which we'll get to later. But Sam, right now it's 1-1 into the first. Carolina, they're not playing their style of game. They're just not. I would say this is probably one of the worst games Carolina honestly has played since probably maybe the Tampa game. They just were not good. But they got better, I thought, in the second and third periods because they didn't let Philadelphia in their zone too much. And in the second period, you have Eric Robinson scoring. He's coming up on the wing. And Philadelphia's goalie, not good at all. So that's why you have lots of goals when both teams' goalies aren't really doing good. But Robinson, he is on a 2-game goal streak right now, Sam. And I do think now, here's the thing. I think Robinson's playing great, but it certainly helps when you're on the same line with a red hot player in Martin Netchus. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, well, Natchez has been outstanding. So, if you like, what is it? Adam Gold said, if Natchez passes you the puck, just go ahead and shoot because it's probably going in because that's just how he's racking up points. So, yeah, I mean, Natchez makes that line better, and I hope to continue to see that.
Yes, definitely. And the assist is from Netchus and an assist from Burns. It seems like Burns is starting to rack up some assists. That's good. He's playing more of a defensive side of his game, I think, this season so far. But if he can get points, that's good.
Yeah, you want him to get points because you need your blue line to contribute, and they have. They really have this season.
Yeah, because you also have Dmitry Orlov, who has been getting lots of points recently.
Yep.
So that's good. And then Jordan Martinook, Sam, he is able to get his first goal as a Hurricane this season from an assist from Slavin and Burns. I believe it was a shot from Slavin to Philadelphia's goalie. And Martinook is able to get the rebound, and it is 3-1 Carolina. Us fans, we're happy that it's 3-1 because we see starting in the second period, the game is starting to tilt. Another thing about Netchus, too, Sam, I thought he was doing almost, I would say almost Connor McDavid like um, plays because he's becoming that good, I think. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know if I'd compare him to Connor McDavid quite yet.
No,
I think he's on a different level right now. But again, it's a matter of does this continue or not.
true.
If it
And
does, and he gets up with like 120 points, then yeah, he's obviously had a season, and you can compare him to McDavid and Matthews. But again, we'll just have to wait and see.
yes, we do. But I mean, it was just impressive. And I'm sure you heard what Adam Gold said, especially toward the end of that game. But it was just, I mean, amazing performance from Netchus.
Yeah,
And Philadelphia's goalie was Kolosov, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
853 save percentage. Oof. Yeah, both goalies did not play well that game. But it's Carolina is on a high right now, so 3-1, they're winning. But then when Tippett scores, and to me, that's a goal that Kochetkov needs to have. He gets a clean look off of the Tippett shot. I mean, Tippett, I think he is a good goal scorer. I do. Now, that was his second goal of the season, but you could also say Philadelphia as a whole hasn't really been playing that good, so there's that. Another thing too is Philadelphia, with Tortorella as their coach, they are a hard-working team, and they block shots. They do. They do a very good job at blocking shots.
Yep.
And it's 3-2 heading to the third period. Canes fans were just a little bit worried because we're like, it probably shouldn't be this close. Kochetkov probably could have stopped both goals. And in the third period, Sam, it's Morgan Frost that ties it for Philadelphia. And to me, this was the worst goal. I thought this was like a Scott Darling type of goal to allow. Like, I literally thought Scott Darling was on the ice because I was like, what the heck? Because Traffield was trying to bring the puck up the ice. He kind of gets tag teamed by two Philadelphia players.
Yeah.
So not good for Traffield there. But again, I don't blame this game fully on Kochetkov just because I would say probably half of this game is on Kochetkov. The other half is on the team in front of them because they just were not playing that forechecking type of game. They're making, their puck management issues were really evident in this game. And Chatfield turned the puck over pretty badly to the point where Anderson probably maybe in no man's land, but at the same time, it went right through his legs and it was brutal because the puck was slow moving too through his legs, which is not good. To me, I was like, yeah, that's a Scott Darling goal. It just was not good. So Philadelphia ties it. And that was also the Hurricanes line that was out there for the Frost goal was our first line. So it was Ahos, Fetch, Roslovic, but they respond pretty well after that goal, and Roslovic scores. He continues his amazing goal scoring here for the Hurricanes. I believe he leads the Hurricanes with 9 goals, Sam. That's just amazing. I don't know what he's 28 years old, but maybe he's one of those players where if he can find the right team, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's going to get 30 or 40 goals, though.
Well, you think of players like Reinhart and Zach Hyman, right? Guys that weren't really goal scorers until they found their team. So you never know. Maybe he becomes a 30, 40 goal scorer. But again, we'll see. Right now, we're just going to enjoy the fact that he's scoring a lot.
Yes, and I think that's a great example, Sam, with Zach Hyman. He played okay in Toronto, but he's really excelling in Edmonton. Sometimes you find the right team, and maybe I hope that's what happens with Roslovic because he's playing amazing. I just hope. This is the only season he's under contract for the Hurricanes. I hope we pay him.
Yeah, I think if you get to the deadline and he's still ripping it up, you extend him at the deadline. As soon as you get to that, or as soon as you get to a position where you can extend him, I do so.
Yes, because he has been just absolutely tearing it up. And some of these goals, I will say that Roslovic's getting maybe a little bit of, again, he's playing amazing. But you look at some of these goals that he's made, it's like, how did the goalie not save that?
Hey, he's got the hot hand. I'm not going to complain right now.
No, I'm not complaining at all. It's just I remember that goal that Nedeljkovic kind of let in there against Pittsburgh. But you have Carolina scoring from Roslovic, but then Travis Konechny, Sam, he scores once again. Now that was a tip in, so maybe you can forgive Kochetkov maybe a little bit for that, but at the same time, it is 4-4, and it goes down to the last minute. And Martin Necas does it again because he's that good right now. He scores and is able to get 5-4 with, I believe, 31 seconds left in the game. And then Seth Jarvis scores on an empty net to make it 6-4. Sam, great win. Sorry you didn't watch it, but I know your priorities were on the election.
Yeah, well, good game from the Hurricanes. You always like to hear about wins.
Yeah, it was sloppy. Very sloppy, though.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think you have to look at it as we're a good team, and good teams find a way to win even when you play bad. And Carolina found a
Exactly.
way to win even though they were playing bad, and that you love to see.
Yes, definitely. Now, Sam, let's get on to the Pittsburgh game. And I know you watched this game,
Yeah.
so both of
Yeah.
us.
It was a great game. I mean, honestly, I thought Pittsburgh played really well in the first period. I think that was indicative of the shots. And it's rare that Carolina gets outshot, and they outshot us. But I think Kochetkov, I don't like the goal he allowed at all, and he needs to mitigate these softies. But you're not in this game if Kochetkov isn't an absolute monster all game, because he was. He was just outstanding the whole game. And in that first period, when Pittsburgh racked up those shots, he was making saves, getting into a rhythm. And Carolina ends up scoring 2 goals on 3 shots. And, somehow you walk away. And I know I think they had more shots by the end of the period, but you walk away from that period up 2-0 when you can probably think, oh, Pittsburgh probably feels like they should have had better fate at the end of that period.
Yes, because Carolina did not get any offensive zone time at all, but they made most for their chances. I mean, it was just a weird game. You had one game in Philadelphia, which was very sloppy, but because of how good you are, you're able to win it. And then you had the game against Pittsburgh, very, very weird. One thing I am happy about this game, Sam, is even though they had a double minor, I'm happy they did not have a 5-on-3 penalty to kill,
I know.
which
It's like
happened.
we've been getting used to those, haven't we?
Yes, we have, and that happened against Philadelphia, and I'm happy that we didn't have that against Pittsburgh. But at the same time, we've had too many in
Agreed.
these dozen games. So
Discipline has
discipline
been a
needs to.
problem.
Yes, it has. But another thing too, Sam, is that it's just I'm I don't want to go out on the limb to say that the officials are on it on Svechnikov, but I don't know how they call that a trip. That's just me.
I didn't like the call. I mean,
It was a
maybe they were.
bad call. Bad.
It was a bad call. It's just one of those you find a way to kill. Maybe reputation plays a factor there.
But reputation shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't, but it does, right? Like for example, when Rod got the bench minor, reputation played something there because no other coach is going to get it on the first, you know, talk back, and Rod got it. So, right, reputation plays a factor. It shouldn't. You're right, but it does.
Yeah. It's just frustrating. But like what you said, Carolina was able to kill it off. They killed all 4 of Pittsburgh's power plays. So penalty kill was very good tonight. They only had Carolina didn't see much on the power play. They only had 1 power play. I thought they were decent on the power play
Yeah, they had
against Pittsburgh.
some chances, looked a little dangerous, but yeah, it score again. This team is 8th in the league on the power play, but when you look at the power play unit, other than the first unit, the power play is a little weak. So Carolina really, if they're not scoring in the first minute and a half of the power play, they're probably not going to score. So that's the problem.
I
Is Carolina last year had 2 units that they could consistently run out. This year we only have 1. So while we're at 8, it's because our top unit has been just dominating. But once they cool down, it's just going to start to slip because we don't have that second unit that's going to be able to go out there and score. I mean, Roslovic, I think, is on that unit, but does he score because he has unbelievable line mates on 5-on-5, or can he score because he's just maybe he is a goal scorer? But we'll just have to wait and see how the season goes.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think Rosvic's playing amazing, but I think there's more of a point to be supported that he's playing well because he's playing with Aho and Svetch.
Sure. Yeah. And look, maybe we finally found a guy who can be that line mate.
Yeah. I mean, we thought Gensel was the perfect match, but we saw how that went. But if Rosvic can be that perfect line mate, that's great because
And I mean, heck, if you need to start splitting people up, you can. You can always bump Svetch down to that second unit and put Roslovic up there. So
Yeah.
you don't have to be married. If the power play cools down, Rod shouldn't feel afraid to jumble it up a little bit and maybe spread out the scoring because Roslovic can score. So maybe you put him on that first unit.
Yes, exactly. But obviously, Sam, I believe the first shot, or maybe it was the second shot, goes in on Nedeljkovic, who usually plays well against us,
Yeah,
but he
not this
didn't
time.
tonight. No. Amazing pass from Jordan Stahl to Martinuk.
Yep.
That was a great goal. And I thought there were a lot of highlight reel goals against Pittsburgh because I thought the passing was just almost excellent,
Yep.
flawless tonight. So, but you have a pass from Aho to Roslovic in the first period, so that's 2-0 Carolina. Again, not getting a lot of offensive zone time because Pittsburgh is almost hounding Carolina in their own end, but Kochetkov is being a brick wall, and we go into the second period and we scored 2 more goals. Roslovic does it again. Great pass from Svetch. That line is Sam. I'm happy that line is starting to get points. I really am because they need to.
Yeah, well, everyone needs to contribute. And again, at some point, Nature's Roslovic will cool down, and you need other folks to score.
Yes, definitely. And I was happy to see Aho. He got a couple points. Fetch, he got a point. And Roslovic, you know what's funny is that he got his first assist tonight. And that was on
Yeah,
the Jacob Slavin goal.
he did. I saw that. That's funny. Good for Roslovic. I want to see him continuing to provide offense.
And with Slavin being my best player on the team, Sam, I went bonanzas, let's just
Oh, I bet.
say,
Yeah, I bet.
when he scored. I was so happy.
Was your dad happy?
Oh yeah, he was. For those who don't know, I went to the game with my dad. Sam was gracious enough to give up his ticket.
Yep.
So yeah. And so 4-0, Sam going into the third period, and another goal, another highlight reel goal, because Netchus, he delivers a great pass to Eric Robinson,
Yep.
and it's 5-0. But unfortunately, Sam, I was hoping Kochetkov was going to get the shutout, but he doesn't.
No, he doesn't, and he lets in a soft goal. Again, I'm not trying to take away from his performance because he was great. He was really great. But the softies got to stop, right?
Yeah, they do.
They got to stop. Those are the ones that can't go in. If they score some highlight reel goal, good for them. I'm not putting that on the goalie, but I need the softies to stop because, like you said,
Yes.
Philadelphia was a disaster. We got lucky. He bounced back tonight for sure, and we need more of that. But those bad goals, like what the goal they scored tonight, can't go in. It can't.
No,
Because if you're playing Edmonton,
no.
and those are the kind of goals you're allowing, they're a lot more skilled than Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Another thing too, Sam. Hurricanes, I thought were a lot better in the face-off circle against Pittsburgh, but the face-offs haven't been friendly to the Hurricanes recently.
Especially Jordan Stahl.
Yeah, Stahl. Well, I mean, I would say that's part of the reason why Stahl's getting paid is to win face-offs, and he kind of isn't right now. So,
What did he go? 7 for 20, I believe, is what Adam Gold said in Philly.
Yeah,
in the Philly game.
That's just not good.
No, not acceptable. Not for him. Not when that's one of the big reasons you put him on the ice.
Yeah, so the face-offs need to definitely get better. And honestly, I mean, going into this Pittsburgh game, Sam, I was actually feeling a little bit confident just because I was like, Carolina just is a better skating team than Pittsburgh. Yeah. And I think if you cannot skate fast, you're not going to make the playoffs in this league. You're just not, because it's a fast league.
Yeah, it's true.
And part of the reason why I felt confident is we already had a game against Pittsburgh. It was the first game on that big road trip. And I mean, well, I thought Pittsburgh looked good, especially in that first period, Sam. I mean, you can tell when Hurricanes get the puck, they're faster in transition, they're faster with their style of play than Pittsburgh is.
No, they
Pittsburgh
are.
has to evolve a little bit more work ethic in order to get going, while Carolina, they have the skill.
I don't know if I would say work ethic as much as I would say they're just an older team. So they have to get it going a little slower. They're going to be a little slower than Carolina. So, I mean, I thought Malkin had a heck of a game. I just thought Kochetkov was stopping everything tonight. Malkin probably could have scored a hat trick easily.
Yes, he could have. And this is one thing I do want to end on, but I do want to go back to the Philadelphia game. Natchez playing over, I believe, a minute and 30 something seconds before he scored like the game winning goal. Sam, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is just pure insanity.
Yeah. But when you hear like Trip Tracy and Adam Gold, like Natchez wants to be great, and that's what great players do is they take over a game. And right now, he's the best player on this team. It's not Aho, who we really haven't seen a whole lot from this season yet. It's Natchez. Natchez is your best player, hands down, the best player on this roster right now. I hope Aho starts to produce a lot more because that's what you pay him to do as well. But right now, it's Natchez.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this Pittsburgh game is a good starting point for the likes of Aho and Svetch.
Yeah.
Because they got some points.
Yep.
So hopefully that starts something new with Aho and Svetch.
Agreed.
So, yeah, great way to end the 4-game homestand to sweep it.
Yep.
So we will see you guys on Monday.